Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about My Hero Academia. My name is Jacob Betts.
I'm Kane Reynolds.
Providing the soundtrack.
To My Hero, I'm Kenneth.
And on every episode here, we watch 4 episodes of a show and we break them down back over here. Yes, we break them down like All Might breaks down evil.
Everything.
Everything. Because today we're going to talk about My Hero Academia.
I still don't know what the Mai is in anime.
Kane, Kenneth, have either of you seen this show before?
I am current on it.
I'm caught up with the manga.
So you're caught up with the manga.
This is really good.
Yeah.
This is essentially my favorite anime of all time.
It's not Death Note, but...
I said my. That's an opinion, Kenneth. And if you want to talk about your favorite anime on the show...
So, Kenneth,
Yeah.
You're caught up on the anime?
Yeah, I'm caught up with the anime.
Nice.
I work at a bookstore, haven't read a single chapter. Although I recommend, anybody that walks past that manga section, hey, have you heard of My Hero Academia?
I haven't seen this before. I was very surprised by how fetishy a lot of the imagery was.
what do you mean?
Well, like how there's literally a character named Mount Lady, and she's giant, and everyone wants to take pictures of her.
Oh, yeah.
It's like macrophilia of the character. And I want to make it very clear, I'm not opposed to that. Fetishy imagery is perfectly fine.
Right.
Especially because I don't think macrophilia gets a lot of mainstream use.
Nope.
So, like, rock on? Like,
It's just
also,
they came right out with it and said,
Yay, is what we're doing.
Well, also, that's a big part of the culture of the show. Obsessing with the superheroes. And the
not as much as
public's-
Deku, but...
Yeah, right, but the public's obsessions with these heroes and the macrophilia. Mountain Lady's the epitome of that.
The superheroes here are often portrayed as sort of, like, they're almost sort of like influencers, or the type of people who would be looking for advertising a lot. Like, it's almost like, have you ever seen Mystery Men?
Yes.
It's a lot like Mystery Men.
I love that movie.
Oh, really?
Which probably translates to why I love this show. I absolutely...
Because in Mystery Men, the Greg Kinnear character does so well, partially because he's sponsored by so many people.
Exactly.
And the main characters are all these superheroes who have much less impressive powers and don't have any sponsors.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's a lot of what's kind of going on here.
Oh man, as we get into it, there's so much about like the politics of what it takes to be the number one hero, and like that's everybody's goal in Japan. This takes place in Japan specifically. They don't really go into the rest of the world very often.
Besides All Might being very Captain America-y, and like, you know, maybe he came from America, but besides that, you have no chance of...
So he was an American raised in Japan, and then he went to America when he received his power.
They actually...
There's a movie.
That's in the movie.
Okay.
Yes.
So he speaks fluent Japanese.
Yes.
It's not weird for him to be there.
No.
Yeah.
And his like gimmick of being an American, that's his self-chose gimmick. Mm-hmm. And once we get into the classes and stuff like that, you'll see where like that comes into play. Being a superhero is as much about being yourself as it is helping and saving people.
Which also, I wonder how much, if any, of this was formed by Civil War. Not the movie, the comic. The Marvel comic.
Interesting. What makes you say that?
Well, that's the whole premise of Civil War is heroes basically becoming super cops.
Yeah.
Well, and you feel like My Hero has heroes that are already super cops.
Yeah, it's as if
they're already all registered, right?
Yeah, it's as if Tony won.
The government is essentially
they're bosses.
Revolved around superheroes as a profession. And a lot of this story goes into the intricacies of that. And most of it is due to All Might's presence.
Because All Might, he reduced crime by like 70-some-odd%.
Yeah.
Because the world is just the alternate ending to Civil War.
Yeah.
So the first episode is Izuku Midoriya Origin. Izuku Midoriya, or Deku, he has no powers in a world where most people have superpowers, but he still has a drive to become the number one superhero despite not having any.
Weeaboo fanboy of the highest order.
Right, well, he is the Peter Parker.
Interesting, what makes you say Peter Parker?
Because Peter Parker is the surrogate character in comic books that every kid connects with, right? Every kid is supposed to connect with, I have something that's inherently not super, and I want to be that, and then you inherit the power With great power comes great responsibility, yada, yada, yada. Every kid sees that and is like, he was the comic book original. Every kid can associate with this character. Before that, all superheroes were pretty much adults. And, like, were like, you know what I mean? In terms of that. This is, hey, all you kids out there today who watch anime and wish you were, wish you were Naruto, wish you were all these characters with crazy powers, wish you were Goku.
Well,
this is your surrogate way of joining the anime.
And there's a thing that I really do like about Deku, is that he has the sort of Captain America drive, which is Captain America, if he had all his powers taken away from him, would still fight Hydra.
It's interesting. I just rewatched the first Avenger.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like bullies.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing with Captain America. He has his powers as an extension of an already good person.
Right.
It's like Stanley Tucci character actually says to him in First Avenger, where he's like, when you get this, just don't forget to be a good man.
Right.
Because that's what you already are. And I think Deku is very much the same thing. Because he doesn't have any powers. He's accepted that he's never going to get any powers. And he still is like, no, I'm going to be as great as All Might.
Yeah.
I love him. I love Deku.
I wrote down some of the names of the superheroes.
Yeah.
We've got Death Arms. Severin, if you want to do me a huge favor of just throwing in some people for the YouTube people at home. And then there's the firefighting hero Backdraft.
Yes.
There's Kamui Woods, who is actually one of the coolest heroes because he's pretty much on every scene.
Yeah.
He's one of the top heroes, I believe. And then there's Mountain Lady, who we were talking about right at the beginning.
Also, which they do the kind of the Pokemon thing where the Pokédex says like, Pikachu, the electric Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
they all get a sub-name.
They're all,
he just repeats mutter over and over again in the background.
Yeah, because he's constantly muttering to himself.
Yeah, but they're like, he's like Kamui Woods, the whatever hero.
Oh, it's important. It's important to his character development of being more of a tactician than, let's say, an All Might.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just punching shit. Detroit Smash. If Detroit Smash doesn't work, I'm gonna use Oklahoma, whatever.
Yeah, I think Detroit Smash is his.
Isn't there another Smash?
Yeah, there's.
Because I was rewatching the episodes.
There's 3 states he uses.
And I was like, I forgot he uses different Smash.
He uses a Texas Smash for sure.
Yeah. Do they explain what the difference between the different types of Smashes are, or are you just supposed to accept that he has Smashes?
They're not.
Not really, because when I rewatched it, I was like, wait,
I'm sure Deku could tell you. Deku could tell you.
Because when we watched it, I was like, wait, didn't he use a different state later in the show?
Yeah, he just switches it up. I don't think there actually is.
I think it's just
difference.
Whatever state he thinks of for Smash.
This score is fuck me, I want to get fucked in the ears.
And he does have a very good score.
It's top 5 for me. I think the reuse of like motifs for specific characters are very clear.
Yeah.
I think the different types of genres that are infused into the score, it's awesome. You've got some traditional, I mean, at least later on, there's a character called Overhaul, and he's got some like more traditional Japanese instruments influence. Then you've got some like really hard electric dance, techno music, and then you've got some like really just nice composed pieces that are, orchestrated.
All Might's theme is literally a march, which is Superman's theme is a march, Captain America's theme is a march.
Yep.
They're all basically taken from John Philip Sousa because it's about as American as you can possibly get.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just get a lot of it done really well. Mm-hmm. So this score, if you haven't listened to the whole score from like start to finish, I recommend doing it. It's very good. They do a new score for every season.
Oh.
Which is really cool.
Cool.
Where they just keep adding different songs in.
I like that. A lot of people will skimp on scoring, and that's not a place where you want to cut corners.
Well, these are all individual superheroes.
Yeah.
They've got to have their own themes.
Because they all assumedly have their own movies.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we're just seeing the Avengers without seeing their solo films.
But this episode's about Midoriya.
Yeah.
What is
all
your
about Midoriya? For
me, like I said, Midoriya is like the surrogate character, but also there's something just super relatable about him, other than just being he's not a blank slate, right? Mm-hmm. Just like Peter Parker's not a blank slate.
Yeah.
For us
he's
to
not
fit
too much of the Avatar.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I will say, at least for me, basically the fastest way to make Jacob Betts like your character is have it be somebody who doesn't let their circumstances get him down, and that is 100% who Deku is.
Oh, man.
Like I said earlier, he does not let the fact that he has no powers stop him from trying to achieve his dream, and I'm like, yes, I will watch him do whatever the fuck he has to do the right thing.
What affectionately the character he thinks and calls to as his best friend treats him like that all through his school years.
Oh, yeah.
Like Bakugo, right?
Yeah.
It was just a dick to him.
Just an asshole. And Deku's still like, that's my best friend. Like, come on, man. He's just the epitome of, like, optimism, right?
This is a bit of a tangent, but this is a story from my life that I think is interesting.
Okay.
When All Might saves him, and Deku goes, "Oh, I should ask him to sign my book," and he looks like he already signed it.
How cool is that?
How cool is that? That actually reminds me of when I used to work at Escape Hotel, the escape room down in Hollywood. We had Chris Evans come in one day. As a promotion for, I want to say it was maybe Civil War at the time.
Yeah.
And he came in and they videotaped him doing it, and I think it's on the internet somewhere. After he got done, his, like, assistants or whatever, you know, people that were handling, had a whole table of posters and stuff for him. I don't think they told him what it was there for. He just took the Sharpie and started signing them. Because, like, it's not like, you know, he's not, like, being pompous about it, like, yeah, you want my signature. It's literally just, this is his life. His life is, I see a thing with my face on it, it means somebody wanted me to sign it, and he just knows, because that's just been his life for so long at this point.
Oh, man.
It's kind of fascinating. That, like, he's like, yep.
But there's no reluctance either.
Oh, no, there's no reluctance. He likes doing it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not pompous, but there's no reluctance. Like, he is living the life he wanted to live.
Yeah, and it's just second nature to him at this point.
Oh, man. Frankly, there's such a big connection, especially watching the show, with working hard to become a superhero like you would to become a celebrity. Like going to school and stuff like that. It's no different than, you know, wanting to be good at sports.
Like
the training.
Even later in the show where they have like internships.
Right.
And you want to get the internship with the right hero.
Right.
Yeah, you want to be the right sidekick.
With the right publicity.
There's so much about this, you know, you just made that connection with Chris Evans signing stuff and the superhero signing stuff. But there's an allegory of following your dreams here. That really hits home for me. And
Did All Might pat him down to find out he had that book on him to sign it?
who knows?
Who knows?
It probably
He just
fell
All
out of
Might,
his
yeah.
pocket or whatever. You know, he just got done. No, I think he dropped it when the slime dude.
Oh, yeah.
Also, can we talk about
wasn't he reading
one of
it?
the scariest villains introduced in the show, period,
Yeah,
right off the bat.
is the first villain that they show. And, All Might can catch him in 2 fucking, 2-liter bottles.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
5 other heroes couldn't do shit.
And also, this is something that actually kind of bothered me. The imagery on capturing Deku and forcing himself into him is invoking some imagery that I don't think this show was perhaps built to handle.
I almost disagree. I think that's entirely the point of the character right off the bat.
Yeah, but it's
But there is
it's
also
very uncomfortable in a way that I don't know was good.
But there is also just that baseline
sure.
of it's anime, and a lot of those things are
That's true.
like you watch enough anime, and there's always every show has like one
It's
or
gonna
two
hit and
things
miss in those
that
kinds
are
of
just
areas.
weird.
Yeah, it's just something about the sludge dude forcing himself onto Deku while forcing himself inside his body while saying "Don't fight back" and it'll be over. I'm like,
well, that's the point. I 100% sure.
Oh
that
no,
was the
I
point.
know that was the point, but it's like I don't know if this is the show that I don't know you can just do this.
I mean, just like
without
That might
coming
be
back to it.
That might be a culture thing.
yeah,
maybe.
just like the end of Sword Art Online. For somebody who watches a lot of anime, it's just another anime.
It gets worse or it gets yeah.
Then maybe maybe something fundamentally needs to change with anime.
You're probably right.
So Deku, his name is Izuku Midoriya, right? Yeah.
Okay, we've established if the pub encounter episodes come out before the podcast does, our Japanese knowledge isn't, crazy.
Great.
But this show in particular, all of the names
mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's most anime for the most part, but like all of these, like the author is actually trying to make puns with everybody's
because
names.
a lot of anime, they don't have such like Japanese names.
Yeah.
Like when you watch like Dragon Ball Z, even though they're not, none of them are like normal names, but they're like ambiguous to where they come from. Where it's like, if you met somebody named Krillin,
right.
it wouldn't be crazy. But like, yeah, My Hero, like everybody's almost like full Japanese.
Yeah,
names.
they all sound Japanese, but the names absolutely
like a regular
mean
person
stuff.
that you can meet from Japan. Like, yeah.
I just wanted to. I was curious, so I looked that up, and the kanji for his name can also be pronounced Deku.
Yeah.
Right.
And Deku also means worthless,
right.
useless.
Right, which is why, it's why Bakugo calls him that.
Yeah, which I found kind of fascinating that in the English dub, they've just sort of decided that Deku stands for Defenseless Izuku, which is...
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, which is the longest stretch to make that work.
I watch it subbed. So things make a little more sense.
Oh, I watched it. I watched it though, but
really,
I don't know. They said that.
Yeah, they say what's his face, his bully best friend, calls him Defenseless Izuku 1,000 times.
Oh, and if anybody is freaking out there, not knowing where to watch the first season, they have it on Hulu. It's not on Crunchyroll right now, so if you're somebody who watches anime through Crunchyroll, you can still watch the second and third seasons. But if you need to watch the first season, it's on Hulu.
Episode 2. This is What It Takes to Be a Hero. This is where All Might reveals his secret to Deku, that he isn't powered up all the time, that he actually has no stomach because it was removed in a fight with a mysterious villain who we won't talk about.
Would they never address like how he eats around that if he has no stomach?
You
don't have like it's not necessary.
They never address that as an anime.
I assume you it's something similar to like a gastric bypass thing where his body doesn't absorb vitamins quite the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not.
Well, he literally looks like a skeleton.
It's not changing story or nothing.
He literally looks like a skeleton.
I like the way he looks.
I don't know what it's like in the sub, but Christopher Sabat voices him in the dub.
Oh,
version.
really?
Yeah, the guy who does.
I love Christopher Sabat.
It's amazing.
His voice is almighty.
The guy who voices All Might in the sub is fantastic. Yeah, I don't know his name.
All Might, when he's being Superman,
they do a different voice.
And he has a different voice when he has no powers when he's weak.
Yeah.
It's still him, but it sounds less posturing and more real.
Yeah.
I'll say that it's the same. It's the same in the sub when he's in his buff mode, right? Mm-hmm. That's him as the other All Might doing a voice.
Yes, it does the same thing.
That's how I would interpret it.
Yeah, when he's in his weakened state, he sounds like he sounds weaker. He sounds like more of a kind of a beaten guy. But when he's All Might, it all disappears and he goes into it.
What is a lot of work, right? What do they say? They says he can only work in his buff mode 3 hours a day. So we spent a lot of time in the last episode talking about Izuku. This episode's really about developing All Might's character.
The climax of this episode is very much about Deku.
Right.
He rushes in to save. What is his bully best friend's name?
Bakugo.
Yeah. He rushes in to save
Kachan.
him.
But this is our initial. How do we feel about the real All Might? Because that secret's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. That's like
people would be scared if they knew.
Right. That's like learning Peter Parker's name. If villains found out about this secret, they would all pile up on him. Right?
Yeah.
They would all try to kill him.
And what I found fascinating about this is sort of what I was saying earlier about Captain America, is that if you take Captain America's powers away from him, he's still Captain America.
Right.
With All Might, it's sort of about him learning, when I have my powers taken away from me, that doesn't make me less All Might. Like, he kind of learns that when he sees Deku rush in to save him.
Yeah.
That's his whole arc through the whole show. Is learning that.
Yeah.
Because he's so used to being the figure of All Might, because, that's what you are to the public, as a superhero in the public eye. Like, that's all what this is about, right? The difference between...
He kind of feels worthless when he's in that. At least the first time when he's explaining to Deku, he feels worthless.
Yeah.
Because he's projecting his weakness onto Deku, and he's like, Deku, you can't do anything, man. You don't have powers.
You know what?
Just like me when I'm like this, I can't do anything when I'm like this.
You know what actually might be an even better analog for this, if we're going to relate it to Western comic book movies.
Right.
It's very much the same lesson as Iron Man 3.
Right.
It's not the suits that make me Iron Man. We can destroy all of the suits. I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's about me and my abilities. If you take all the suits away from me, I can still do something that matters.
Right.
If only
Deku can be the superhero.
Exactly, and he's already has the mentality of a superhero. He just needs an outlet to do it.
And that's the decision right there, right? We already talked about, like, the double-edged sword of being a hero in the public eye and getting too used to it, like becoming too used to the fame or becoming too used to the stuff like that. We really get to see All Might beat himself up here. He's just standing and watching and feels like he can't do anything.
And all of the other superheroes who do have plenty of powers and are making excuses as to why they can't.
Yeah, there's you know, they're like, oh, I'll just kill the kid now, or like blah blah blah, we can't do it, right? We are our biggest enemies, and we actively see he is literally self-berating himself. He's calling himself pathetic over and over and over again. He knows, All Might knows he's a very interesting, smart character, right? He knows he's not being the hero that he is looked at in the moment. He is actively self-reflecting and calling himself pathetic. Yeah. Instead of doing anything about it when he sees Deku rush in. Which then he's like, oh, that's all it takes. Right? Then it snaps back into it. That's why I'm All Might, right?
That's why I'm All Might. That's why I deserved to get these powers in the first place.
That's why he deserves to get these powers.
Yeah. That's why Deku deserves to get these powers, and that's what I assume, I'm making this up a little bit, but I assume his story will play out as to that's why he got them from whoever had him first.
I haven't watched the movie, so I don't know if they go into that. They haven't really.
In the show, they haven't said.
That seems so weird because he
No, they have in the comics. They know who you know who it is in the comics, but they haven't really talked about what happened.
Because they set up that All Might is sort of a lineage passed from person to person to person.
It is.
So assumedly, there's some level of heir to this. I'm actually really surprised they don't go much into who had it before All Might.
There is a reason why they haven't yet, and I can't. This is a spoiler for anybody who's watching the show actively. Yeah. Well, that's going to be a while. This is like chapter 200. We don't really know why All Might was chosen, but we can kind of assume why.
Yeah,
based off of his
why.
Character.
He sees this in Deku, which assumedly means he understands
what that factor is.
Exactly.
Right.
Which, leads me to believe that's likely why he was chosen in the first place, and he's forgotten about it over the years, and this is about him getting back to what made him so good in the first place.
Right.
This episode also has what I think might be my favorite line of the 4 episodes we watched.
Yeah.
Which is, my one weakness, I need a 2-lane road.
Oh,
there's this Mount Lady trying to get to the sludge demon, and she can't get through.
Also, but like, what's Mountain Lady gonna do when she gets there? Fucking step on it?
Which also was like, why don't you just shrink back down? And then
Can she not, maybe? Is her superpower just the fact that she's a giant all the time?
Yeah, maybe it is. Now that I think about it, Mountain Lady doesn't ever shrink back down whenever she's out.
Yeah, you always cut away.
Maybe she's like the Renee Zellweger character in Monsters vs. Aliens?
Kind of, yeah. Like, well, I mean, she does shrink back eventually. She doesn't start that big.
But you don't see it.
We don't ever
actually shrink.
We see her grow though.
Yeah,
we don't ever see her shrink. But every quirk
Because even the very first time I saw it, I was like, why don't you just shrink back down and walk through and shrink back up?
They make
every quirk has
a flaw.
Foils.
Has a very specific flaw. They go into that like really in depth.
What this episode gets to is a very firm core belief of mine, and that is that we can't spend our lives waiting for perfect people to show up.
Agreed.
It's about imperfect people having to rise to the occasion, which is another reason why I love Deku.
Right, and then the foil to that in All Might isn't the perfect thing that Deku thinks he is. Mm-hmm. Right, he's not. Now he's the skeleton man who's literally calling himself pathetic.
I'm interested in the fact that you guys call him Deku.
It's so much easier to call him Deku than Midoriya.
In my head, I always think Midoriya over Izuku.
I mean, I would probably refer to him like on text as Midoriya, just because that's what I feel like people would call him.
Mm. But I always think of him as one of his actual names.
Deku's just way easier to say right now.
Let's go to episode 3. Episode 3 is titled Roaring Muscles. This is about how All Might describes how his quirk works, sort of. There's still a lot of questions that apparently I thought were going to get answered, but don't yet.
Let it be known, All Might does not know how his fucking quirk works at all.
Because the all for one isn't a specific thing. It's just power.
Like I said, we go into All for One way later. All Might just does not know how it works.
It's just, whatever it is, it's vaguely Superman-ish.
I would say that All Might actually does have a quirk. I would argue that his quirk is being able to turn into the big buff form. And that's where he channels all of the power.
But I'm talking about whether it's just physical strength or is like the person before him had a different power? Like, have they all just been Superman?
They all have different quirks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And so each one is a new quirk. So whoever gets it after Deku will effectively just get the exact same thing because Deku has no quirk to add to it.
I'm saying more if the person has a quirk, they get the all for one.
You have all of the quirk.
And it combines with your quirk.
You have the power equivalent of all of the quirks combined. So the next person gets more power. But I guess
so. Whoever gets it after Deku
would
will
just
get the same
essentially
thing Deku
have the
got.
same.
Well, I'm not. I'm talking.
We don't even know for sure, really, because the way Deku, because they haven't explained this. So the way when Deku uses All for One is not the same wind technique that the All Might uses.
Oh, I just assumed that was because they were different people and had different personalities, so they were using it differently.
I assume it has a lot more to do with actual quirk chemistry.
But I mean, is that All for One is raw power, just handed over? But you still have your quirk that affects it. Like, not every every person is going to be just super strong guy.
We think that because All Might can turn into Big Man, that's why his punches break the wind. Okay.
So something I really like about this episode is the majority of it is training. It's a 10-month training montage.
Sign me up.
The thing I love about it is that it's just cleaning a beach. They make a whole thing about how it's different muscle groups and isn't that cool. But also, All Might says a lot of superheroes are worried about flashy showmanship.
Yeah,
and really, what being a superhero comes down to is boring community service. This is a thing that needs to be done, and nobody's doing it. We need to clean up this beach.
Because he could have so much have easily gotten a pass to 24-hour fitness. And just hit all the muscle groups on machines.
Yeah, but boring community service isn't just building muscle groups, it's building very important character as... We need to help the community in a small way as well.
He's talking about how he accepts All Might's challenge, right?
Yeah.
This isn't just another chosen boy tale. He wasn't chosen by the stars or by some curse or whatever.
Yeah. He just happened to get to meet All Might and follow him up into the thing.
He happened to meet All Might. He's a fan, so All Might stayed and signed and did these things and, whatever. He took an opportunity.
Yeah. Like Harry Potter was going to be Harry Potter.
No matter what. He didn't... There isn't anything in the story to say that he was anything but, right?
You could say Izuku was destined to make that right on whatever street to meet All Might, but if he would have just walked a different way...
But he took the opportunity to follow up, and it was his actions... Yeah. That caused All Might to give him the opportunity.
It's about choices.
And he literally asks him, of course, it's up to you whether you want this or not. Mm-hmm. And without a second, of course, everybody might be like, of course you would accept that power, right? You think about that in real life, equivalating to, the dream job you want. If it requires you to go to the gym every day, are you going up and going to the gym every day? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can say that I'm not doing nearly as much as I should be doing for stuff that I say that I love to do, right? Mm-hmm. It's not inevitably the simple choice. Obviously, as an audience member, we're like, of course. Yeah. And narratively, he has to say yes. But in terms of the translation, he is taking those opportunities and making something of them. And I think that's incredibly important.
Yeah.
You haven't watched this before. What is your... opinion on Bakugo so far, and how do you feel about him?
I think Bakugo is very insecure. I think he's very insecure at this moment because he knows full well that Deku did something he couldn't do. Deku actually rushed, he saw danger and rushed into it instead of away from it. And Bakugo has phenomenal powers. They're like fire, aren't they?
He's got nitroglycerin
sweat. Yeah, that's it. Because he can blow shit up with his sweat. But he knows that he doesn't have the intestinal fortitude to use them the way I think he wishes he could. And he sees that in Deku, and I think that makes him very insecure. I also think that shows up in that scene where all the other superheroes are berating Deku for being, you're so stupid, why would you do this? You can't do this, you're not strong enough to save anyone. And then they start praising Bakugo, not because of anything he did, but because of powers he had that were enviable. And so what it boiled down to them is they looked at Bakugo's powers and Deku's lack of powers, whereas All Might looked at Deku's choices. And choices are what make people, and choices are what make heroes.
Agreed. Well, that's why we see the teacher literally make fun of Deku.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, he's not the only kid that's doing that to Midoriya. Mm-hmm. But he's the only one who's acknowledging Midoriya in other ways.
Yeah.
Just like I think in the 4th episode is right when they start the school, right?
Yes, the 4th episode is when they do the exam.
Right, in that 4th episode, Bakugo's pissed that Midoriya's even trying.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's only pissed because he sees...
He's first off, he's pissed that he's trying. Like, that he's been pissed for that for years. But then he's pissed that he's actually in the same place as me.
But yet, they still sit next to each other.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is yet, and I'm sure it sounds like they do start to explain it a little bit. Oh, they don't?
Not really.
Well, maybe I'll pick up on it as we watch more. But Bakugo does seem to have some interest in Deku.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would like to see what
they
that
do
ends
show
up being.
that, yeah.
I also want to say, as a fellow mutterer, I respect Deku because I mutter so much. I'm a mutterer so hardcore. I walk down Hollywood Boulevard, people think I'm crazy because I talk to myself under my breath.
It's nice that, it's getting represented, man. I think that character is... I think that character... all that stuff is incredibly important throughout everything with Deku's character. Like, he's a nerd. He's a nerd at heart. He knows everything about you and your powers because that's all he did.
Yeah. He cares about. When the hero shows up, he becomes the narrator. Like, he knows the powers, he knows the weakness, he knows how they work, he knows, special moments they've been in. Yeah. It's like, me, I see a player, I know, the big games they had, all their stats and all that stuff.
Now, let's go to episode 4, which is the exam episode.
And also the introduction of my favorite character.
I don't know if your favorite character is the same as my favorite character, but I have exactly one note written for this whole episode. Just one.
What is it?
And that note is... Best Genist is the greatest hero.
I actually didn't write Best Genist for some of the introductions.
I do love his name. Best Genist.
Oh, his powers are really cool.
Oh, he actually has superpowers? I thought his superpowers were that he could pull off denim.
Style's part of it. Style's a big part of his character, and it's really important to him.
Oh, I love him so much.
But his powers are actually really cool. He's the number 4 hero.
Oh,
he's like a big deal.
He's not joking around.
God, I love him so much. I love characters that are just all about decadence and theatricality. They're fun.
Man, you're gonna love Best Genist, man.
Good.
He is
the best.
He comes up a lot.
Of all the Genists, he's number 1.
I was gonna say Uraraka.
Oh
yeah. Because she's great, and also the ultimate waifu for sure.
I'm assuming that's the girl character. They haven't named her yet.
No, they haven't revealed any of the names. But
it's the Gravity Girl.
Gravity Girl. But they haven't even come up with superhero names yet. But that's her powers.
That's her power. Is that her?
Was
it Zero G? What's her name?
I think it's just Gravigirl or something like that. Oh, it's called something specific, but Gravi is the beginning of it. We get Aoyama and Ida, which are characters that show up, are important characters that are introduced, and these characters are in the actual fight with Deku, during the actual exam. And they're the only 2 characters that are important that are in the exam.
And one of them's the runner, right?
Yes, that's Ida. Aoyama is the guy with the belly button laser.
Oh, yeah, the laser button.
I don't remember him.
He's very important.
Right along your lines.
Yeah,
he's fantastical.
Yeah. He's French. Well, he's not, but that's his whole thing. Is he's supposed to be in love with French culture.
He would be.
Wait, no, he does sound familiar.
He was the blonde kid, and he's got a.
He's the perfect Best Genist sidekick. Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, and whenever he shoots, he doesn't just shoot the laser. He shoots the laser.
Shoots the laser. I forgot. Yeah. God, no, he is wonderful.
I wanted to talk about
that's again. The thing with all the Japanese names. You start remembering, as you meet more characters, you start remembering people as Electric Guy.
Electric Guy.
And Crowhead Dude.
And you need to learn the names of all of these characters because they will come back up at some point.
Oh, God. Well, you know what I love about
remember
TV?
Their powers.
What? Doing homework.
No, what's going to happen is you're going to remember
them. Write them all down as we go here.
You're going to remember them by powers because they have regular Japanese names.
Okay. So the story of this episode was very similar to the basic themes of the last episode.
Yeah.
Deku makes a choice that is incredibly selfless because he wanted to help someone else, even though it was at his own detriment. He ends up attacking a machine that is worth 0 points. And it ends up helping him because he...
hero points.
Because he got hero points for saving people.
Which he doesn't think about the fact that he just jumped, 30 stories into the air.
One of my favorite
and has no way
to
get down.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't mean to use this like this. So we don't know any of the names. He literally refers to Uraraka's name, he refers to her as the nice person. We get the reveal then that she goes up and she asks to give her points to him.
Yeah, I love that scene because it helps establish her as being selfless too. She was willing to actually put her own placement on the line in order to help somebody for being a good person.
What was your initial impression, Kenneth, of her character? Did you, obviously, were you as somebody who watches anime, were you going to be like, oh, is that that's the next important character, right?
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's his girl.
Right.
Yeah, that's the girl he's going for.
And then also, what did you guys about Ida, who's the speedster?
Does he ever push his glasses up?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't have the reflection glasses?
Yeah, because he's super good guy.
Yeah.
He has glasses, but he never pushes them up because he's super nice, by the book guy.
Well, my impression of him actually played out more after Deku had attacked the robot. Mm-hmm. And I think the first thing that Ide says is, well, I would have done that too, but I was busy doing this. Yeah. And that's where I was like, oh, you're making excuses like all the heroes in the last episode.
Yeah. Right, but it doesn't mean he doesn't care, right? When all the heroes are running away, you see Deku on the ground, and Ida's running by, and he's the only hero that looks down at Deku for a second, and then keeps running.
Yeah.
But that specific glance is very important, right? Not just because, this character is going to be featured later. But
he's going to be.
But I think that glance tells a lot about him.
That he's at least concerned about other people's well-being.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he might not be at the point yet where he will put other people ahead of himself, but he very well might want to get there. Yeah.
Because a life-changing thing happens to him.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I'm asking you all these questions because I think it's interesting. Yeah. All these characters. The point of a lot of these characters is to take shonen character tropes and then to flip them over.
Well, if that's the case, then I do like that it is bothering to establish the stereotype before it breaks it. Because the same thing that I liked about Doki Doki Literature Chub. But Doki Doki.
Oh, fuck.
But it's the same thing about Doki Doki Literature Club that I liked. Is that before that I had never played a dating simulator, and I don't know anime that well. So when we were playing it, I didn't know what it was going to be deconstructing, but it did bother to lay the groundwork before it pulled the rug out from underneath.
Exactly.
And in anime, there's hair color means things. Hair and eye color are a lot of shows that don't break the mold can tell you where this
Right, silver hair usually means they're up to no good or they're a bad guy. That's, Sephiroth, right, from Final Fantasy.
What's his name from...
Spiky hair is protagonist, Cloud is spiky hair. They mention this during the video. All Might's I have to keep my secret.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to say something about the video?
Oh, I loved it because I love the moment where he's really going on, and then looks off at the guy and is like, how many does he have to make? All right.
Shit.
It's good, man. I mean, it shows, it gives you the little okay, these guys are celebrities and there is some fake thing that they're doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But All Might always slips it up and lets you in on it. Speaking of letting you in, his big secret, right? Before All Might chooses to give away his power, he does tell Deku that secret right off the bat. Obviously, he's been caught. But he's just completely honest with him and is seemingly unafraid that Deku's going to say anything based off of just first impression of Deku. In the next couple of episodes, we'll probably get the ladder at some point of the top heroes and stuff. And we can talk about that of
somebody's asshole.
Everybody's trying to be number one, right? But that's currently All Might. How do you surpass All Might if he's All Might?
And then when you see who number 2 is, how do you even surpass that?
I assume number 2 is the villain that hurt All Might.
No.
Number 2 hero.
Oh, number 2 hero.
Number 2 hero.
When you meet the number 2 hero, you're
power.
You're oh, how do you even pass that? Never mind, get to All Might.
Right. All Might does say that he leaves that battle off of the record, right?
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, you know who that is, but...
I don't, but I also do wonder if there's a hero who is in some way like the anti-All Might, how on earth do we not...
Quite on the nose.
Because that's every superhero, their main nemesis is the anti-version of them.
Right, Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Got fucking... Is it Ultraman is the bad Superman from the other universe?
Yeah, there's an exact opposite.
Yeah.
There's an exact opposite
for
Justice League.
Well, and even Superman's main nemesis is Lex Luthor, who is opposite Superman in every way.
Right.
Like they always do
brains versus bronze. Right?
Yeah. That's every superhero ever since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
If there's somebody who's as strong as All Might but evil, why does this person not want to be known? I think that's worth a question. Because that means he must have some major plan that involves people not knowing about him. Or that involves, and I'm even assuming it even is a him. Because if it isn't by choice...
the current government is keeping him out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Or just like they want to keep a symbol of hope, they don't want to give anybody idea of like, this is your symbol of destruction or doom. Plus Ultra.
Yeah.
Which is mentioned, that's like the school's motto.
Yeah.
They say it before they start the exams. It's
Yeah.
just like, remember, plus Ultra. What does that mean to you? It's a mantra that they use throughout the entirety. It's what UA, the Academy...
does U stand for Ultra?
Honestly, I actually don't know what UA stands for, but it must be Ultra Academy. That's really dumb. That's the case. But plus Ultra is like their mantra. And does that mean anything to you, just hearing those words?
No. It sounds like nonsense to me.
Okay.
To me, it's kind of like... believe it.
Yeah, it is like believe it. It is like Naruto's... That's my mantra that I say for myself to keep myself going. It will mean something by the end of this series.
Thank you once again for joining us. So next week we're going to get back to Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. It'll be episodes 5 through 8. In the week after that, we are going to be talking about My Hero again. Wonderful. So be sure to watch along. You can come join us here.
I love you.
Thank you.
I like you. I don't know if I love you like it yet.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoy the time we've spent together. Maybe it'll get there someday, but I want to build to that.
I mean, they're watching anime with me. That's like at least one of my checklists.
All right. Thank you all again. See you next time. Toodles.